In the earlier lesson, we briefly looked at declarations versus expressions. And for the most part, the type of function that we've been writing are the declaration ones. And this is also depending on the preference of the developer. You may choose to use the expressions or the declarations. They're both going to accomplish the same thing, although it's going to look a little bit different within the format. So some developers will prefer to use expressions. And depending on how you want to use them, also keep in mind, if you are using function declarations, they are hoisted to the top of the code. So that means that we don't have to worry about where we place them. So in this example, we've got will not work, not hoisted. And we see that when we've got the expression function, we're not able to work. We already saw that earlier in one of the examples. But over here, we see where we've got test2 that we're invoking, and this one will work because this is a declaration. So this can sit anywhere in the code. So it gives you a little bit more flexibility when you're writing your code to separate it out, and you can create a whole list of functions and then you can use them. And a lot of times when you've got JavaScript libraries or separate JavaScript files, they're declaration functions. So you don't have to worry about that where the library is placed. As long as you're linking to the JS file, then you're able to use all of the functions. So there are benefits and there are advantages to using either one. And again, it's up to personal preference as well as a developer. So if you do see that error, then if you are using expression, then that means that you just haven't created the expression, defined the expression before you're trying to use it. In this exercise and this challenge is to create two functions, one as a function declaration and the other one as an expression. They can both add a value to a number, and they should both work the same way. So depending, doesn't matter which one we call upon, they should both have an output of 10. So obviously for this example, we're passing in 5, it's adding 5, and it's outputting it into the console. So go ahead and try that project out, and just so you get more familiar with the different ways to write functions, and I'll walk you through it. So go ahead, pause the video, and I'll walk you through it coming up. The function, so this one can be test1, and it's expecting a parameter to be passed in, so it's expecting a number. And they're both doing the same thing where they're returning a value and then just adding 5 to it. And we can console log out test1 and console log test2, and we'll pass in 5, and we now need to define that other function. So that's test2, and it's taking a number that's being passed in, and then it's doing the exact same thing where it's taking that value that got passed in and adding 5 to it. So we try it out, and we see within the console we've got two 10s. Next lesson, we're going to be discussing function scope. So that's coming up.